Hi guys, if you're new here, welcome. And if you're not new here, thanks for coming back. I have a special video for you. I am going to share my book stack for, I'd like to say September, October, but it may be like September, October, November. Who knows? It may change next month. But let's just say I have a book stack for you right now. These may be new books for you or old books for you. If they're old books for you guys and you've read them, please let me know in the comments your thoughts. Which one was your favorite one? Which one was one that you just didn't like or just didn't understand? They're kind of obscure, so I don't know. But if you recognize any of them, let me know. So let's get to it. I am gonna go, how do I do this? Okay, so basically, this is how my reading journey has gone. I became a homeschool mom with my eldest. I started Ambleside online. I fell in love with reading. I've always been a reader, not a deep reader. So there's a difference between just reading and then kind of getting into some like living reading, like living books that are just alive and just, they make you think. So, oh my goodness. Okay, so the first book that made me just fall in love with literature was a modern book. It's this modern book. It's called The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos, oh my gosh, I'm going to butcher his name. Carlos Ruiz Zafran. He's a Spanish writer, or was a Spanish writer. I got all his books. I have all his books except I think like one short story or some of his some short stories. The last book he wrote, and he passed away. And I feel so sad because he was a lover of literature. Even in his books, it's about literature. So if you like that kind of stuff, I don't know, that was like my gateway to just falling in love with reading again. And I became a mom, started homeschooling, and found Ambleside online. If you are interested in homeschooling, free curriculum. You just have to buy your books or get loans or go to the bookstore, not the bookstore, what is it, the used bookstores, and just start collecting. Or a lot of them are on Project Gutenberg. They're free. Sorry, I'm still sick. Anywho, so Ambleside Online has a master book list, and you can go through them and see like which books did I not get into, which ones do I want to get into. Use it. In any case, I started using Ambleside Online a few years back with my daughter, fell in love with the richness of books. And that's how I fell in love with Charlotte Mason. I had no clue about Charlotte Mason. I think it was just Google. I don't know how it came about. But Charlotte Mason, it was my gateway to a lot of things. A lot. In any case, so she definitely talks about mother culture, educating yourself. The mother culture is, the best way I can explain it, the short way that I can explain it was to be a mom who is also learning alongside with your children, but you're also doing things for you to enrich you in devotion, in prayer, in reading widely. You yourself need to read just like your kids widely. So here are my widely books, okay? Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with, the first one is a poetry book. I started reading the poems of Anne Bradstreet. I joined like a book club, or I bought a curriculum. We always buy stuff. I bought a curriculum for moms who want to do mother culture together. And I don't know why I just didn't connect. I think I was having a disconnect with the person who created it. And when people share their opinions a little too much really early on, and it throws you off, I just get discouraged and I just leave the bandwagon. I'm like, oh, but I want to come back. So I left some of the material we were reading. I just wasn't into it, honestly, but that's okay. That's where you need to do your own research. But I love that we started off with Anne Bradstreet as poetry. And interesting enough, she was someone who kind of got me into the Puritans and getting into Puritan theology, and I loved it. I just fell in love with it. So I'm going to be rereading poems. I know I read some of them, but I've forgotten so many already. Just rereading every day just to enjoy poetry, and enjoy beautiful words. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So sorry, it's cinematic, so it's going to go in and out of blurriness. Now the next one I have is The Great Divorce. Now The Great Divorce was recommended to me by a friend. I was having a conversation. This is just a side note. I read a book, and I always butchered the name. And oh my goodness, I'm gonna put it right here. This is the book I read because I butchered the name. I'm so embarrassed to like not say it right. But in any case, it's right here. I read this book. I finished it. It was not what I was thinking. It turned out to be way different from what I guess I wanted it to be. You know, I don't know if you've ever read a book or even watched a movie or you're listening to a story. You're like, huh, didn't think you'd go that route. I'm like, okay, I can see all these elements, and I'm like, oh. So it ended with, like, I felt like the character didn't have like an arc, and I was disappointed. But I may be wrong. I may need to reread it again, because that's what happens with some of these books. You're wrestling with it. And I wasn't wrestling it because of the themes or because the the message it was saying. I was thinking it was going to be more fantastical than it was, and I was hoping for me to stay in fairyland, I guess you can say, or to I don't know. Who knows? If you've read this book, let me know your thoughts. I know that the reviews say, people are saying, I think it was on Goodreads or somewhere, where I can't stop thinking about this book. Oh my gosh, it's blowing my mind. And I think when I read that, I was expecting so much. That's what gets to you. Sometimes don't read the reviews. Just read it first and then put your 2 cents. And so it was so hyped up in this way where I was thinking it was going to be very fantastical. And there's fantastical elements. I don't know. Maybe I'm still thinking about it. In any case, what was I saying? Oh, so I explained this to my friend. She's like, why don't you read The Great Divorce? You know, so I'm going to be reading this. This is going to be awesome. I have a pile of C.S. Lewis books that I need to read. I want to read. It's just there. I'm just getting to it. I'm chipping at it, but not in a way where it's like, oh, no. It's just I want to savor it. I want to experience it. And I'm a slower reader on purpose because I think internally. I don't process out loud. When I do, it takes me forever. So, however, when I do process out loud, it's to my husband, it always helps. So we're going through that. I know a few books I'm going to go with my husband, but I'm going to read The Great Divorce, C.S. Lewis. This is about a writer who finds himself going, he's going on a boarding bus bound for heaven. So he's in hell, going to heaven. And it's kind of, this is the starting point of extraordinary mediation upon good and evil, grace and judgment. So I wonder why you guys can let me know in the comments, why did she recommend this to me? Any case, I'm excited. This one's going to be one I'm going to be reading. Okay, and because Charlotte Mason encourages mothers to read widely and to actually just have the whole feast, I'm going to do a lighthearted book. So I have like a fiction book, I have my poetry book, and I have a lighthearted book. And this one is a borrowed book. I have 3 borrowed books that I'm going to be reading because I want to give them back. I don't want to hold on to them too long. P.G. Wodehouse is going to be my lighthearted book. I've always wanted to read P.G. Wodehouse. Heard it was very funny, and it's pretty much classic now, right? And I want to be a part of that conversation when people mention certain things. I'm like, oh, I know what you're talking about. And I always hear about My Man G's, P.G. Wodehouse, and I want to be a part of that conversation. So maybe it's kind of like, it's not selfish of me, it's just me want to be a part of it. So I'm excited about P.G. Wodehouse. This is from Every Man's Library. It has I don't know all the short stories, but it's a huge collection of the short stories, and I think one large story. You have a biography of the author itself, chronologically, let's see, biography, selected by bibliographies, historical events. This is just like a gift. This is just like a fun gift. I would love this as a gift. So I'm going to be reading that. Next, I'm going to be reading for like a theology or just kind of like my biblical Christian studies. I'm reading Ordinary from, this one I also borrowed from my friends, Michael Horton, which I found his YouTube channel, and I just loved it. I love that he gets together with different denominations that are part of, like they're in the Reformed tradition, but they're all together. They have different insights, different things, and but they get together and just talk about theology, and I'm excited to read this one. It's all called Ordinary. Excuse me, dry mouth. I need a cough drop. So I'm excited to read Ordinary. I don't know much about it, but I do know that I wasn't wrestling with feeling not ordinary, but I do feel ordinary, and I feel the beauty of being ordinary. My ordinary faith. It's like how beautiful it is to like know every day I'm doing something special for my girls, meaning I'm present, I'm consistent, I'm consistently praying, even though that's hard for me, consistently praying. Doing those ordinary things are, I guess you could see in its own, they're powerful, but they're not powerful in you fireworks and everyone's gonna see, but it's the insights, the little things, it's the little habits. So I don't know what he's gonna talk about, but I was feeling this already. So I'm excited. Okay, I don't want too long of a video because I finished Fantasti's George MacDonald, my first George MacDonald book. I fell in love with, I'm still thinking about it, processing it. After I read that book, I listened to the podcast, the Literary Life podcast. If you guys want to listen to a podcast just with literature and just dissecting it and their thoughts and hear their commonplaces, quotes, go check them out. But I listened to, there was maybe 4 episodes of Fantasties, and after each episode, after each reading, I went to the episodes to see like how I caught up, and I caught new things that I didn't read in the book, but I got to hear. And then there was things that I'm like, oh, they didn't catch this, or wait, they didn't talk about this, but it was comforting to know that, you know, there were things that I was thinking that was similar, and things that maybe I thought way more than they had. So it was kind of like having a solo book club, you know what I mean, where I'm reading by myself, but I get to hear the experience of others. So I read that, Fantasties, and because of that, I'm getting into the Faerie Queen. So just so you know, Fantasties has George MacDonald puts it in, he kind of goes into fairyland, which I believe comes from this original story, and then that inspires, it's like a domino effect that inspires many ideas, many authors, especially like C.S. Lewis with Narnia. You're going into a different world. And definitely they were inspired by J.K. Rowling going into a different world. Many authors have gone into different worlds, you know, and so I'm excited. I finished it. Now I'm going to go through this one, and this is a borrowed book. Can you see it? I think you can now. This is a borrowed book, and this one is Edmund Spencer's. Like I said, it's Edmund Spencer in Faerie Queen Book 1, and this one's annotated so that I can see on this side footnotes. I like footnotes with these harder reads, so I can see the footnotes. I can even see maybe the definition of some certain words that are kind of just a little older, that were written during the time of Shakespeare. So that's exciting. This is going to be my dense book to read. And then kind of like, I don't have a science book. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. I don't know if I have enough time with that, but I am doing science with my daughter, but I'm reading, in a way, history. I'm going through the Greek and Roman fairy tales, legends, and myths. I am going to be reading this book alongside, we're going over Heroes, Charles Kingsley's Heroes, started mythology with my daughter for school. So as I'm learning through that, I'm going to go through just original, like maybe just the original text of these stories and heroes and legends and mythology. I like this book because this one also has footnotes, and this one also has, you know, the author or the editor, you would not say author, the editor, his perspective, and especially being an expert in mythology and lore. So that's my, I guess it's not heavy. I don't feel like this is heavy, but this is kind of like my nonfiction, even though it's about mythology and legends. So that's it. That's my book stack. If you have any comments or your 2 cents about any of these books, let me know. If you're interested in grabbing some of these, I am an Amazon affiliate, so I have a storefront where you can just go ahead, add it on your shopping list. If it qualifies, I may get something from it. But I do have an idea list of my mother culture books, so if you want to check out my other mother culture books, I have like a list. Hopefully it's organized. I'll make sure it's organized. But in any case, thanks for watching. Let me know what you're reading, what your book stack's reading, because I love to add to my to be read pile and put it on my wish list on Amazon. So yeah, bye.